All right, welcome everybody to the Genesis Mindset. In today's episode, we're going to take a quick look today to see if there's any confirmation of a reversal in the liquidity flows of Atropa and pDAI, and also we're going to check out the XUSD Pump and the potential that exists there. I'm also going to share a little bit of that website because I think there's definitely a lot of things that you guys need to be in tune with and keep your mind on in relation to the XUSD chart and the XUSD project in general. And then going to also look at all the interesting pDAI ratios and how people might be able to take advantage of them. And then finally, we're also going to take a look at Richard's bullish wrapped Bitcoin, pulse chain wrapped Bitcoin, the people's wrapped Bitcoin, as somebody likes to call it, tweets. And finally, leading into some new eHEX yield ideas, and one that is safe and one for true degens. So I've obviously been showing a lot of HotX, but now I've thought about another, well, actually Crypto Elliot introduced me to the idea of another HotX yield opportunity, like a yield opportunity. So this is more of the degen play, and then there's more of the safe play. So that's going to be at the end. So as you guys know, I mean, I love eHEX. So thanks very much, everyone, for joining. So let's get straight into it. So we got some of the, it's nice to see all you guys here. It's so cool. It's like, you know, when I do these videos by myself, it's different. It's a different vibe. It's really special that you guys join and comment. So what's going on, Hex G Unit? Good evening, BP Crypto, Jesu, some of the usuals, Peanut Brain. What's going on, Mr. Rock Jockey? AOKG, Hex Down Under, TS Pedro. Thanks a lot, guys. So Steve doing the big dirty XUSD pumps again, no doubt. I know, bro. That XUSD pump was nuts. So, all right. So what I'm looking for, only in this particular instance, what I've been looking at is volume, reversals of volume. I think that's probably one of the most interesting things that I've been trying to look for. Ben French. I don't think I've ever seen you in here, Ben French. So welcome aboard, my friend. So I haven't really seen anything. I mean, I've looked at a lot of other different things, but liquidity flows is what I've paid attention to the most. So the fact that we haven't really seen a massive pump here, but perhaps the PulseX to Pulse Chain chart is not necessarily the best kind of chart. So I might just actually just very quickly, just as a matter of principle, just see what's going to come up if I bring the PulseX chart to pDAI, because I did want to have that here on my main chart just to kind of measure it. But let's go with this one here. This looks like it's the oldest one. So let's just see if there's any big pumps, because they all kind of pump together, right? So all right, it's exactly the same. So I wonder if I show it on DAI, does it show the volume differently, or does it, if you put it on USD, is it like the volume across the board? Okay, no. All right, so it's the same thing. So as we saw yesterday, this massive candle was an indicator for a bottom. For a top. You could see it here for the Atropa ecosystem as well. You saw it here again. This was the local top. So whenever we get these big, gigantic candles, they are the local top. So we're trying to look for what reverse, if we can get a reversal of that, obviously, is when the volume is starting to pick up. So these are just very basic TA things that I'm looking at. I also showed this bar chart, this bar chart copy thing tool that I thought was really nifty, that someone shared with me a while ago, and I found out it was one of Richard's favorites, and I thought that was really good. So we haven't really seen massive upticks here. Nothing really kind of has changed since yesterday. The one thing that I did want to look at, which we will go have a look at in just a second, is having a look at this ratio and then also the Atropa to down, because when we see it, okay, all right, hang on a second. So when we are bullish here, so this is starting to uptrend. So uptrending is, I mean, the candles are very subtle. I mean, really, it's kind of the same as this. I mean, is it really an uptrend? Not really. Like, it's ever so slightly. I also need to reorganize. I need to get on my favorites, my little arrows here. So you can see this little uptrend here. And then obviously an uptrend in the flow here. And now we're just seeing ever so slightly, but it's really nothing. It's like, it could just be something like this, which ends up being like a little dump. So possibly could be something, a scenario like this. So 17th of June, what happened on the 17th of June? And what happened prior to the 17th of June for pDAI? So 17th of June, yeah, things are basically heading on the way down for pDAI. So When did it start going bullish? 3rd of September. And then, as I've shown before, this kind of idea before. So as this is going down, then it's pumping. It was pumping pDAI up. Then it was going sideways. Then pDAI had this massive pump, and then this ratio had a dump. So basically, you could say that. I mean, what I've been showing is essentially when this is going down, pDAI is going up. When this is going up, pDAI is going, well, really pDAI is going sideways and down. So in other words, if this is going to go up, then it means pDAI is going to go down, or at least that's what it's shown previously. So the fact that it's slightly upticking, it's not really concerning or anything, but it might just mean that we end up having like a candle like this, where kind of liquidity is like creeping its way through here. Then this big chunk gets taken out here, something like this, which again, 17th of June, it was a big downtrending moment. So it just continued to downtrend till it eventually had that reversal, which came in, yeah, like we said, on the 2nd of November. And you can see, I mean, look how clear this is. 2nd of November, the candles really, the volume really started to die off. Then it picked up. It probably doubled in a day. You can have a look, even see if up the top left here, you can see what it tells you. So second tier is 209K, then it doubled. So 725K. So 209, 309, 176, 177. So it really, well, really it doubled from here as well. So 176, then it doubled, and then it doubled again. So the volume really started to double and pick up. So those are the things that I want to look at. The fact that this volume has really started to die off, and this is basically the end of this 3-day candle today, the 22nd. But obviously, the American market now, I don't know if my time is set to like GMT or something like this, or if it's set to the American time zone. Obviously, the Americans now are just starting to wake up. So this here is the big thing that I'm looking at. So when this pushes down, when down is really going down, that means that the liquidity from down is flowing into Atropa, which is probably then in turn going to flow. It's going to flow into Atropa, which is then in turn going to flow into pDAI. So this is when the whole market is really going to start to turn around. So no confirmations yet. Again, just having a look at the general little things and how I kind of look at it. So I'm always trying to look at it in slightly different ways, but also trying to be consistent and look at it in the same kinds of ways as well. So nothing really majorly to report with the exception of this yet. So until I see something here, probably then for me, we're maybe possibly still going sideways. But again, let's not fade the Don. So the Don vid said 2 days. You've got 2 days to buy everything. So that was yesterday, which means we've got one more day. So he's very bullish. And he called the breakout on the 12th of January. So do not fade the Don. The Don was like, he's like OG Atropa as well. So don't fade the Don. So I watched the latest Maria stream yesterday. Lots of guitar, but some interesting gains from converting T-bill to Atropa at the right amount. Nice, Puffy. Yeah, nice. Okay, nice. Yeah, fantastic. So I don't really know, I don't really know how to go about those videos. For me, they're not really clear half the time, well, most of the time, actually. So yeah. But if you were able to make some decent trades in there, good on you. Like maybe it's probably worth having a look at the Atropa to T-bill and keeping your eye on that as well. Like maybe that's what Maria's trying to tell us in that particular video. So what's up, Huzzers? What's up, Marcus? Fatina. That, if anyone hasn't seen it, what was it called again? The Life of Trees. What was it called again, Fatina? It was brilliant. I would strongly recommend it. It was only just like a 15-minute video. And it spoke about the interconnectedness of trees and how trees are really, we think of trees as these separate entities, but trees are like one interconnected. Actually, you know what? Trees are like, oops, I'll just go to this. Trees are like these, we think of trees as like separate, but trees underground, they're all like interconnected through like different kinds of fungal tracks, and they communicate with each other through that. So for example, if this tree is getting an excess of something, it will share it out to the other trees. Or if this tree here is getting some kind of sickness, then the other trees will respond by creating some sort of like healing mechanism on those trees in preparation for that. And they'll work together to help each other grow. So there used to be this concept that everything's in competition with itself in nature. But I think that concept is the wrong concept. I think even this Ethereum thing, this Ethereum Foundation tweet, and I saw Richard being like, he's saying, oh, I am competitive. And I was like, well, okay, that's great. But I think the time of competitiveness is, I mean, this is crypto. Somi also says competitiveness is great. But when I look at the Atropa ecosystem, for me, it's like about this coexistence. And yes, there is competitiveness as well, but it's also this coexisting kind of nature because it's a totality, it's a system. So that's the one. The Secret Language of Trees on YouTube. About 15 minutes, just go to YouTube, look for The Secret Language of Trees. I would strongly recommend that. So Mitch, fractals. I've never done fractals. I don't know how to do fractals. Do you do fractals? And do you find that they help you identify certain things with this particular ecosystem? Because if you do, I would definitely love to hear it, bro, because I don't even know how to do fractals. So I just do basic stuff. I do like Fibonacci's, trend lines, and then I do these candle patterns as well. I do very, very basic stuff. So yeah, let's get back into the presentation. So, all right. So the next thing that I'm going to look at, we'll move on. So I don't know if I caused this pump or not, but it was a decent little pump in XUSD. And the beauty of XUSD is, I mean, this is on the 3-day. If we look at it on the daily, I mean, it was a decent little pump. I think it pumped like 60% from the video. I think it was up here and it pumped like 60% or 50%. So yeah, congratulations if you're in profit. But one thing that I would say to look out for with XUSD is really familiarize yourself with the website. I would strongly recommend familiarizing yourself with the website. Familiarizing yourself, for example, with the docs. The docs are still being, like, they've been updated, but I believe the website portion of the docs hasn't been updated yet. But again, if you're like me, where you learn in stages, I mean, I've read the old doc and I want to read the new one, which is just going to be an updated version of it. So I would definitely recommend just going through, at the very least, looking at, say, like the vibe pass, looking at the concept of vibes. So just having a good overview of what the vibes are. And as a holder, it benefits you to hold and not sell. So basically, the only thing that kind of confuses me about the vibes is basically, so if you earn good vibes, your vibratile credit decreases. So good vibes decreases your vibratile credit rate. Bad vibes increases your vibratile credit rate. So you want to keep your credit rate low. So basically, buying will give you good vibes, but selling will give you bad vibes. So if you want to look at this as a long-term thing, and if you want to look at this in the sense of liquidity providing, where you can also get good vibes from that, yes, take your profits, do all of that stuff, trade, do what you want. But I'm just saying this is an interesting feature about XUSD, the integration of the way that the community interacts with the token. And for me, the most beautiful thing about it, I mean, so you can buy the Vibe Pass. The Vibe Pass is a lot cheaper than from the Telegram. I was expecting it to be like really expensive, but it's basically just like a couple of $100. You got to spend one swap on it. So yeah, 224 one swap. So it's probably like 200 to 300 USD, which is not that much. And then you're getting rewards by staking, and you're getting rewards by basically following along with the protocol. But keep in mind that we are in the Genesis stage. So they've changed all the naming now, but it's in the Genesis stage. So I want to just go over this stage so people are very familiar with the stage that we're at. So if it does, yeah, of course, the price has gone up. The price has gone up because the market's gone up as well, because it's liquidity bonded with a lot of other assets, and also because of buyer pressure. But because of the stage that we're in, it's really good to be aware that the Genesis phase. So the Genesis phase is all about disbursement. So the Genesis staking, so 1/8 of XUSD disbursement, so eligible tokens for staking. So if you're staked in these particular things, and I wonder if this is updated or if this is old, because I do know eligible tokens for staking. I know that, like, for example, their LP staking, they actually have more here. So maybe, I don't know if it doesn't apply to all of them, but I'm quite sure that it applies to all of them, but just they all haven't been put in here, for example, possibly. So, yeah, because I think there's a few more. So I know maybe, did I see Wrap Bitcoin there? Yeah, see, I don't see Wrap Bitcoin there. So I'm going to have to ask the team on that one. Maybe Wrap Bitcoin doesn't give you the rewards, for example. So I'll double check that, but I don't know if it's maybe just because Wrap Bitcoin has been added and then it doesn't give you. So basically, if you're in these pools, you're in this disbursement phase, 1/8 of the disbursement goes to you in that liquidity pool. So that's good to know. So if you have a pool with, say, Pulse and X, then you're going to get extra X in that liquidity pool. And then so you just follow the staking. So you purchase the tokens, and then you approve the contract, stake your tokens, deposit the selected tokens to begin earning XUSD rewards, and then earn XUSD, accumulate XUSD as rewards are distributed over time. So this is in the Genesis phase. So this is actually really probably the time where you would least want to sell and most want to stake. But then also, as you stake, you really have to take into account, obviously, I mean, if I look at let's look at the ratio, for example, of XUSD to pDAI. So it's done some wild swings. So XUSD to pDAI. So as this loads up, I just hope it doesn't wreck like yesterday. And actually, I might keep this on USD, but obviously, as soon as I start streaming, everything just really starts to go slow. All right, so I'll put this back on USD because, okay, so first things first. This is a volatile asset that is potentially headed, well, I mean, its target is $1. So it will get there. It will get there through the mechanisms of burning. It will get there. So the way that it's been calculated with the distribution, eventually it will get there over time. Yes, it's going to have sell pressure and it's going to drop and all these kinds of things through liquidity bonding, through the mechanism of the token. It will get to this $1. Certainly that's surfacing's conviction. So it's not aimed to stay at $1 like, where's the one? Why is that? Oh, because it's in market cap. It's not. Its goal is not to stay fixed at $1 as a stable coin. So a stable coin's goal is to stay stable, right? So it wants to stay at $1 and not move from $1. This is different. So this is different because let's make this a purple because it's going to end up being like a feature line rather than a fixed line. And let's thicken this up a little. So once it gets there, its objective is, this for me is where it's going to be very, very, very interesting. And this is where my love first came from. Because as you know, I'm big into liquidity providing. I love the concept of liquidity providing. Don't have to think, just leave it there. And especially with the stablecoin narrative, liquidity providing for the stablecoin narrative and basically skipping tax. If these things do stay at $1, and somehow it all pegs, then it's like, amazing. I don't have to pay tax because I don't have to sell the principal asset. I can just live off the yield or create the life that I want from the yield. That's my goal. So now the objective of XUSD is eventually, let's say, all right, maybe this is kind of good here. So yeah, maybe May, June, maybe whatever, whenever it gets there. So it gets there, but then it's going to fluctuate. It's going to fluctuate. So it's a volatile asset. It's not designed to stay at a fixed peg. It's not the way that it's designed. It's designed to fluctuate. And so as it fluctuates, you'll be able to burn it or sell it, burn it. I think maybe not burn it, but basically mint it and sell it and buy it. So it's fluctuating here. Now, if you think about this as something where basically you could just basically play this chart. If you have a position in, say, pDAI and XUSD, and you add to that liquidity, your pDAI, this asset here, this volatile asset is going to help. It's going to help pDAI maintain the peg, because if they're bonded together, as pDAI shifts out of peg, then XUSD is going to maybe go in the opposite direction to help drag it back up. That's how I'm thinking that they're basically going to work. So pDAI is $1 and this is going to fluctuate around it. So that also represents opportunities where you can continue to grow your XUSD bag. So for example, if it gets down to like 90 cents, I don't think it's going to fluctuate this much. I think it's just probably going to fluctuate maybe 10%. So if it gets down to like 90 cents, or if it gets up to like $1.10, so then if it gets up to $1.10, you might buy it. you might sell it. Or if it gets down and then it gets down to 90 cents, you might buy it. And as you do this, the selling and the buying, and they're continuously re-adding into the staking pool, then swapping that for pDAI, and then just keep growing your pDAI bag like this, and just keep adding to your liquidity, adding to your liquidity, adding to your liquidity, without really having to pay too much attention to anything except for this one chart. That's what I love about this. That's why I'm so mega bullish on XUSD. As a concept, I love it. But again, just to go over these docs, we are in this genesis stage where it's distributing. So what happens when it's distributing? It's inflating. So what happens when it's inflating? The price is dropping. So those are the things that you just need to be made aware of. So then we encourage the community leaders to submit a community wallet, which can be whitelisted to create LP tokens paired with XUSD. So I need to write this down actually, because I need to find out if it's all XUSD token, if the docs show all XUSD or not, because it might have been at the time of writing that doc, or it might just be literally just those pairs. Because then if it is literally just those pairs, then it would be a very good idea to be in those pairs. But again, really pay attention to impermanent loss. So I mean, I think doing it with pDAI is a really, really, really good idea, but obviously, this is a lot cheaper than pDAI at the moment. So you're going to end up losing. If you put this in a pool and they both get to $1, you're going to lose some XUSD, but gain more pDAI. But it might not be like in equal proportion. So you might think like if you add the token numbers up. So for example, let's just say, so first of all, let me just bring up the pDAI chart, because I'll show you what it did do. And I think I would take this very much with a grain of salt, because I really feel like possibly this had a lot to do with just establishing XUSD as a token and establishing the liquidity pools. I wouldn't look at this and go, oh, this is going to happen again. But I'll just show you. So I mean, look at this. So this is XUSD to pDAI. I've got to double check. Yeah, so it's XUSD to pDAI. So in other words, at the moment, you could swap one pDAI and you're basically getting 5 XUSD. Up here, you'd be able to you'd swap 1 XUSD, you'd sell 1 XUSD, you'd swap 1 XUSD for 4 pDAI. That's amazing. If it gets above I mean, eventually you would expect that it's going to basically be around this 1-to-1. I don't expect it to do this kind of like crazy stuff that it did before. I feel like that was probably a lot to do with how it established itself as a token and established the liquidity pools and the ratios. So I wouldn't expect it to do that, but you just never know. So this also might be a chart to look at, especially if you're deep into XUSD as like a ratio swap. If you like the P-Stables narrative, you might go, you know what, I'm going to swap or maybe a percentage of my pDAI into XUSD because it's a lot better. And my expectation is eventually they're both going to get to $1. I'm betting that they're both going to get to $1. Then I've just made 5x on my pDAI. But then instead of swapping it all back into pDAI, you might only just swap half of it back into pDAI, create a liquidity pool, and then you've got double your bag. So let's just do the math on that so it's very clear in your mind. So I'll just use very, very simple. I'll just do 100,000. So if I had 100,000 pDAI, and obviously this is not exact. Oh, well, this is 2.4. So basically it's going to be more like you would get. So it's more like 4. You'd get, so yeah, 25%. So you get 400 tokens. So let's just say you've got 100 pDAI, 100,000 pDAI, and then you swap that for 400,000 XUSD. And then when it gets back to this 1-to-1, so I'll draw this little, God bless you, Somi. God bless you, Somi, in all your lessons. He is seriously a national treasure. He's an Australian national treasure. So then you could swap this back for, maybe you could swap half. You could just swap half and half. So then half of your XUSD back into pDAI. And now you've got a sweet liquidity position where you've got 4 times more tokens. You've got double your pDAI, plus you've got double that amount on the opposite side. And then you can create a liquidity pool position when it gets 1-to-1. If it ends up getting at 1-to-1 any time between now and when and if these do peg, it also could be a good idea to bang. That's when you create a liquidity pool, because then when you create the liquidity pool at this point, let's just say April, let's just say, just for argument's sake, actually, because I like everything to be nice and neat, so I'm going to get a circle. So let's say May next year, everything pegs. Let's just say, right? But between now and then, it pegged here momentarily, and then it came back down, and pDAI ended up grabbing all the narrative, and it came all the way back down here, and then comes back up here, and they both peg, right? So if it does do this at this particular point, that's a great time to create a liquidity pool, because as all this yield, like, you're going to be getting all this yield as it's selling down, and people are swapping for XUSD. So then by the time it gets back to over here, you might end up having like 250,000 of each. And because it's at the one-to-one, it's easy for your mind to track how the ratios work, and how it's also like, if you believe in the pegging narrative, then it's a really safe liquidity pool, in my opinion. So yeah, I love XUSD. I love the concept of it, but know the risks of it as well. There is FUD around it. There is, like, there was, I think people were saying the team has too many tokens. So have a look at the holding patterns. Go on the Block Explorer, look at the holding patterns, see if you're comfortable with that. But I'm very comfortable with the team. I don't think that they're like going to be dumping it and hurting the price. I think they want it to be $1, and I think them having a big chunk of the supply and basically being able to support when it does get to this one-to-one, they're the people that you want to be supporting the ecosystem at this point. You don't want just randoms. You want people who are in love with the project to be doing that and maintaining it as a volatile asset. So for me, it's actually a bullish thing. You might take it as a negative thing. So because I've spoken to them, because I've assessed their character, I've felt their heart, and I'm like, I vibe with these guys and girls. I really like all of them. I haven't felt even a single shred of discomfort with any of them. So yeah, a little bit of XUSD alpha there. So again, just make sure that you have a good read of this. I have done a talk with Surfacing. I would definitely recommend going and listening to that talk with Surfacing. I also did one with Anders from the team. So strongly recommend just having at least a very good read of this particular phase where we are now, so you know what you're getting into, and you might be able to how you might be able to capitalize on it. So okay, so since we're talking about pegging and ratios, now this great little tweet by Freedom77. So 4 interesting pDAI ratios to consider on Pulse chains. So pDAI to HEX. So pDAI to pHEX, this is something's going on. Something's going on. So whether this is coincidence, whether it's just chance, the amount of volume, look at all this volume that's happening here. This is people trying to keep it at this one-to-one. People really trying to keep this as the one-to-one. So if we really believe in the pDAI narrative going to $1, if this continues to thicken up and hold, then pHEX will get dragged up. That means pHEX is going to be $1 when pDAI is $1. If you're a pHEX holder, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's also why I'm just like, man, people's lacking mindsets on this blockchain is really a hindrance to them. If they're not looking at the data, if they're not looking at what's actually happening on the chain, they're going to feel really depressed at the price charts and what's happening in the 4 main core tokens. But I'm looking on the charts and I'm going, all right, I'm seeing people cook with eHEX. I'm seeing this happen with pHEX. That makes me just very, very bullish on HEX. I'm just like, okay, well, HEX has got a future. I don't know if these things were talked about at the HEX conference, but they should have been. So the next one is pDAI to pUSDC. So in the PMaker contract, the pDAI and the pUSDC is integral to the PMaker, so to the maker vaults. So the fact that this is one-to-one is remarkably bullish in my opinion. Then we have pDAI to pWrapped Bitcoin. So at one particular point, so I mean, it's at 70,000 now, but look at all this volume here and look at these efforts here to bond it to approximately the price, to keep this ratio at approximately the price of Bitcoin. So at the moment, it's 71.4. But at one point, it was basically like only 5% price difference from the actual price of the real Bitcoin. So that, again, to me, tells me something is going on here. And then we have, obviously, pDAI and Atropa. So keeping it... that's interesting. That's interesting. I like what he's done there. So obviously Maria has spoken about when Atropa is $1, when pDAI is $1, then Atropa will be $7.50. Wow. Freedom77, my boy, thank you for showing me that. Wow, there you go. You can really see how it's gravitating to that. You can you not really look how obvious it is when you actually draw the line there. I did not see that. Wow. Freedom77, UG, you the man. I'm going to have to put that on my chart now. It's just, look how clear it is. It's like a magnet that it just continues to gravitate and fluctuate to this 7.5. Wow, that's phenomenal. That's brilliant. Freedom77, UG. Look at that. Look at that. Look what it's doing. It's bounced off there. It's pushed through there. It's pulled back to there. Then it's gravitated to there. It's fallen through there, gravitated back up, fell down, pushed back up. Wow. 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 That's huge. That's huge. That's huge. That's huge. That's huge for me. That's epic. Thank you, Freedom77. Thank you very much. That's amazing. That is really, really amazing. So there we go. We learn things together on this show together. So want to just quickly go through some of these tweets just in case I've missed anything. The secret language of trees. Yeah. As I mentioned before, trees are a decentralized network. Each tree is a node. Yes, it even talks about the mother tree being like a node as well. Very, very fascinating. Very, very fascinating. And you think about the Atropa ecosystem, and all these tokens are nodes within the totality of the system. So everybody's still looking at the tokens like, oh, I bought this token. I want my token to go up. And I know what tokens people have, because I'll be like, oh, what do you think about this token? Do you think this token could pump? It's probably because they have a lot of that token. I don't know if it's going to pump. You would have to then look at where it sits in the rest of the ecosystem. And for me, there's like over 300 tokens. It's impossible to like know all of it. But I'm just trying to look at the whole system and how the whole system interacts. So yeah, the fungi. Anyone know what's Maria's connection to Scientology? I sent a cultish vibe from Atropa. AN, so I don't know. I think Maddie was telling me, Maddie Crypto Chala was telling me something about that in the Amsterdam. Maria sort of was like joking about it. And Maria's also mentioned how he's used that to, he's used the methods of Scientology to assess Richard's character and his nature. So, yeah, I mean, look, Scientology is a cult, but Richard Hart also himself has been like, they actually teach good things also. And it wouldn't be popular if there weren't things in there that worked. So there's things in there that do work for sure about that. But obviously, you know, when it gets, you know, the spaghetti monster or whatever it is, and well, yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of bullshit to it too. So yeah, I mean, Atropa does have the cult vibes. People definitely think it's a cult. So yeah, I mean, for me, everyone calls Hex a cult. Everyone calls everything that I'm in a cult. So I'm like getting immune to this idea of being involved in cults. I mean, for me, if you like apples, you're in a cult. If you like Samsung, you're in a cult. If you only like PCs, you're in a cult. If you only buy Nike shoes, you're in a cult. If you only wear, what's this, Ralph Lauren, then you're in a cult. Like people, every brand is a cult. Everything is a cult as far as I'm concerned. So, you know, going to a concert, oh, Drake, I love you. I'm going to spend $300 on tickets to hear you sing. You're in a cult. You go to a football game and you watch football and they kick a goal and you're like, yeah. You're in a cult. Like everything in life is a cult as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, for me, it's like water's off a duck's back. So if it's a cult, good. It just means it's going to stick more. So do you do MACD, Golden Cross and supply demand zones? I don't personally, and I'm not saying that they won't work. I know like all the simple stuff works with crypto. That's the beautiful thing about crypto, because we don't have all the scam algorithmic trading from all the hedge funds and all the TradFi in here. So the the simple, easy, like even RSI, they all become self-fulfilling prophecies because everybody's watching these indicators. Eventually, crypto is going to get to a point where all the TradFi money is going to come with all their algorithms, and it's going to screw everything up, and it's going to be impossible to read. So even I've designed like a Forex algorithm. It took me like months and months and months and like years and years and years to do, and thousands of hours. And it's not simple. Like they make it sound like, oh, it's simple. You just RSI this and that. No, you have to like test thousands of indicators. And if you eventually find like a harmony between different kinds of indicators that end up giving you a confluence of information that increases your probability, you only need to be like 55% wins and 45% losses, and you're profitable. But, you know, there's no such thing as like getting it always right. But the reason why it's like that is because there's all these things which they know everybody's following RSI. So then they have like counter trades to that. So in crypto, it's a lot easier. So those things would probably all work as well. But I don't necessarily follow them. So Maria said several times that bear will go viral. What's the proof of this claim? I mean, there is no proof of the claim. I mean, is there? I mean, what? It's just a speculation, right? I mean, how can there be proof on a claim? Yeah, no proof as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I've formulated a thesis based on bear going viral and being the #1 meme coin on Pulse Chain, and also being the #1 meme coin in all of cryptocurrency in this particular bull cycle. So you can go to my YouTube channel and search teddy bear or premier meme, and you'll see my thesis. But I mean, yeah, I mean that you can't have proof for a claim. It's just speculation, right? We're only speculating. So XUSD is awesome. So what's going on, Matt? Is eHEX the play? I got both hexes, so we'll go into that in just a bit. Peter wrapped Bitcoin pumping, but then dumped a bit just now. Who was that? I lost about 1.2 Bitcoins in the last 3 weeks, but gained about. You've got it in liquidity. You've got it bonded pDAI to pWRAP Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, look, man. I mean, this is where it would be the same situation as what I was talking about here. So if pWRAP's Bitcoin and pDAI, if you can put your liquidity in at the point where the tokens are, if you can get it in at the point, actually, you know what? Let's just have a quick look at that. I'm going to show you this in just a minute, but we'll get into this in a minute. I just want to get the pDAI. If you can create the liquidity pool at the point where the pDAI and the pWRAP Bitcoin is the same price as the real Bitcoin, that'll be a great time to do the liquidity pool, because basically I would consider that as being parity. So therefore, whatever fluctuates up and down is just giving you yield. If it's going to go this way, it's getting sold into, you're getting plus yield. If it's going to go the other way, you're getting plus yield. Eventually, it's going to gravitate back towards that point of being at parity with the real Bitcoin. And then you're going to be able to see very easily how much yield you've actually made, because you're going to see, oh, I've got 1,001, but it went down for a month and then it went up for a month, but now it's back at that point. And it's like, oh, 1,101.1. So at the moment, it might look like you've lost wrapped Bitcoin, but maybe not. So just bear that in mind, because you're actually generating yield on it as well. So let's just have a look at that chart, because actually we'll have a look at the chart in just a second, because Dickie also starts talking about it. That's the next tweet that I'm going to go into. So I'll bring the chart up. Make sure we bring it up while we wait, while we go into that tweet. Yeah, thanks for all the comments, guys and girls. This is great. It really makes live streaming so much more enjoyable. Oh, what happened there? And then the wrap Bitcoin. Let's see where it's sitting up here. Nice. All right, so I might have to add this as well to 1 year. Oh, 8 months, 8 days. So that's on Pulse Chain. What version is that? Is that? Oh no, obviously no. Oh, hang on. Wow. Okay, yeah. So that's the oldest chart. I always like to look at the oldest charts, but also usually like to look at the ones with the most liquidity. So the Uniswap ones. So the Uniswap ones have got a lot of. Well, this one's even older, 9 days. And then also you want to look at the highest. I mean, it's the ones with all the liquidity is the good ones to look at. So, 1 year and 7 months. Let's just get a comparison here. So, All right, so as they load up, just go through some more of these comments. So mycelium connects plants and trees through a network of fungal threads called the... That's it, bro. My Corazol. Yeah, and if you have a look at that that video that Fatina mentioned as well, it speaks about that they're the secret language of trees. I would strongly recommend just... For me, anything that mathematically and scientifically resembles nature and is designed in a way that resembles that, it's a winning thing. Anything that more closely resembles nature ends up winning in the end. 83,000 on this. 84. I mean, look, there's some arbitrage opportunities here, isn't there? Not much, but what did we say was the oldest one? So this, I think this one was the oldest one. But there's not much liquidity in there. So let's just stick with this one because at least it has a decent amount of liquidity. Oh, wow. Okay, somebody started dumping. All right, so somebody started dumping. Yeah, I mean, no problem. This is what happens in markets, right? So, yeah, damn, when it was at 88K, that would have been a good time to make a liquidity pool. So was it not... I mean, wow, it's... What? Holy shit. Doesn't this tell a different story? Wow, look at this. This tells a completely different story to this chart. The Pulse X pair. Wow. That is interesting. Because I know the Pulse X pairs fluctuated, to the best of my knowledge, higher. Hurry up and load. Amazes me that people provide evidence of what is happening on chain and people still don't believe. Yeah, I mean, everybody's mind's different, I guess. So, and even the evidence is still like speculative. So even if I'm like at the start, I'm looking at the volume, it's an indication which increases your probability of being right. So nothing... Like, for me, I'm just taking all these bits of evidence to increase my probability of being right. That's the intention behind everything that I'm doing. But I will never take it as like factually, yep, 100% it's going to happen. I think that's a dangerous mindset to have. Yeah, I mean, look at this. Completely different story that it's telling here. Holy shit. Like, way different story. What the hell? I got to make sure that's with pDAI. That's also with pDAI, but look at this, man. Wow, it's like really locked into this rate. Wow, that's phenomenal. That's fascinating. I've not seen that. So there you go. So that was, yeah, 14th of May. Obviously, it's had a lot more trading happening through here because there's a hell of a lot more candles. But yeah, this is a different story altogether, isn't it? Wow. You know, it's gone way higher at particular points in time. Very, very interesting. So we're all building it together. Exactly. Next XUSD pump. It is definitely because you're streaming. Let's see, man. Let's see. All right. So let's go into Richard's street about wrap Bitcoin since we're talking about it. So math is truth. Some of the free coins are worth more than $1,000 a coin. Wrapped Bitcoin, for instance. What other project gave you a free $1,000 per Bitcoin? Liquidity up and to the right. Heck, 10% APR for just stables in the stable pool. So I think the stable pool that he's talking about, free money is real, is the state. Wait a minute. What stable pool is he talking about? So I wonder if he's talking about the stable LP pool. So he's talking about this free yield. The liquidity is going up and to the right. The volume's going up and to the right. I think he was talking about the state. Maybe he's talking about yes, this pool here, 10%. USDT, USDC, DAI. This is this particular one for the FYI. So liquidity and stable. So 10% yield. I mean, if when the SEC case just fingers crossed, gets dismissed, touch wood, gets dismissed. How could a whale, if a whale is getting 5% yield on their stables on Ethereum, why would they not come here and get 10%? Why would they not come here and get effectively 40% more yield, or double yield? Maybe they're getting 5% yield. They're going to get more than double the yield here, this LP reward. Because of, I mean, yeah, it's insane. Like, there's so many awesome, amazing things happening on this blockchain. So yeah, Richard hasn't fudded wrapped Bitcoin once. So again, he's loving these coins. He's not fudding them. He would come out and denounce them. This is one thing that Somi talks about. Like, if he was really against it, he would have come out and said something about it. Like pDAI, he's had all this opportunity to talk against it. He hasn't said one negative thing about it. He did say at the start, which no one mentions, he did say at the start it was the wrong. Make sure you get the right DAI when you're swapping. But since then, he's only ever posted like charts and 4 charts, or tweeted about it 4 times, saying how well it's been doing. So yeah, take that as you like. So HEX is on. So now we'll go into the HEX portion of the episode. Okay. Oh, hang on a second before we get to this. Interestingly, the largest organism on Earth is the mycorrhizal fungus, extending several square kilometers. I believe it's in North America. The largest organism on Earth. Interesting. Okay, we'd have to look into that, I think. But yeah, several kilometers. I'd say it would be more than several square kilometers. But there you go. There you go. It's a living organism. So my pleasure, Matt. My pleasure, Clockington. And what's going on, Clintro? So the HEX portion of the episode. So HEX is on day 1,877 of flawless operation. And by the way, if you guys are liking this, please hit the like, share it out. We'd definitely appreciate it. Get more people onto this alpha. So PulseChain, PulseX, Inc. are around 600 days of flawless operation. I'd like to think it inevitable that these open source projects get the respect they deserve. Give it a try. You probably have free coins waiting for you if you had anything on Ethereum on May 20, 2023. I wonder if, do we know when everyone's been like watching the Trump's portfolio now, and he has wrapped Bitcoin. Did he have wrapped Bitcoin before May 20th? I don't know if anyone can confirm that. As a matter of fact, let's have a look. Donald Trump's crypto. When did, I don't know. Let's just see. When did Donald Trump buy wrapped Bitcoin? Okay. Well, the World Liberty Finance added wrapped Bitcoin and other assets. So it just added them just recently. Okay, all right. I just wondered if it was already in there, because I think he had ETH from a while ago. Because I thought if you had that wrapped Bitcoin like before this date, that would be sweet. No one's gonna. I mean, yeah. He's like anyone. He still loves free money, even though he's a billionaire. They're hidden gems, literally hidden. Popular coin ranking sites list flatulence coins on the front page, but not these gems. It's like they're burying treasure for you to find. It's like they're burying treasure for you to find. Thanks, Dickie. Here we go. So he's showing the beauties here. Millions of dollars of free coins are waiting for people. And again, he made another tweet. So this is another wrapped Bitcoin. This one for wrapped Bitcoin is over 1,000. This chart shows a year and a half of performance. So this is wrapped Bitcoin against Pulse. So beautiful, 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 beautiful looking chart. I mean, I feel really sorry for people who are, or who've sort of been stuck on the Richard Hart core coins. And I mentioned this a few times, but I don't think I've ever heard Richard once ever say only buy the 4 coins. Never. Never heard him say it once. Not in the thousands of hours of streaming, not in the thousands of tweets. So the people who've convinced us to just buy the core coins, yeah, I don't know if it was a good idea. it doesn't seem like it was a good idea. And I even saw Ivan on Tech tweeting about, he was complaining about Ethereum and, we need a fork. What's the solution? And then people started talking about Pulse chain. He's like, I love you, Pulse guys, but until Pulse breaks sacrifice rate, then it's crap. But I'm just like, bro, there's so many things that are awesome about this chain. Don't look at Pulse chain. Look at Wrap Bitcoin. Look at pDAI. Look at PTGC. Look at Atropa. Look at HOA. Look at X. Look at UFO. Look at all the Tangang assets. Look at a ton of the Atropa ecosystem tokens. Look at all the other PRC20s. Like, they're all up from the 0 point. They're all up and to the right. Like, there's literally, like, it's almost like the entire blockchain is up except for the 4 core coins. So the fact that people look at the 4 core coins is a very frustrating phenomena. And that probably partly comes down to an old mindset of like, okay, that's the thing to watch. And yeah, I suppose it has to have some sort of relevance, but I don't know, man. Like, there's just, anyway, kind of a bit of a pity. So now, eHEX and HEX. So as you guys know, I've been talking about this for a long time. So eHEX and HEX. So I was showing, actually, let's have a look here. I'm supposed to bring this up. So eHEX Salvation. So I want to show, fingers crossed, it's got my chart. So as that's loading, let's just go through these comments. Great show. Oh, thanks, Slugcoin. So I hope you're doing well, brother. So I think I know who you are from Twitter. I can't remember your name, but I know you're because you're like at Stevapavs86, and it always reminds me of myself. So those XUSD farms are really printing. They're really printing. They're printing very, very well. So that LP was PulseX V2, Wrap Bitcoin pDAI. I got pDAI Atropa and pDAI USDC. Not sure about doing any others, but tips welcome. I don't know, man. It comes down to you. It's like, this is the thing. This blockchain is so abundant with opportunities, and you could do your head in by what's going to get me the maximum yield. Or, this thing's going to be 5% extra yield, and this one's going to give me 5% less, but this one's giving 100% yield, and this one's giving 95%. So do you want to pull out your hairs trying to figure out what the optimum thing is, or do you want to just sit back and chill and just keep building your positions? I would rather just pick things. I go through processes where I look at what I think is going to be a fast mover. So if you didn't look at the X protocol stream that I did the other day, I go through that process of how I find something that might move faster. And so those are the things that I'd buy, as opposed to things that obviously don't, like, PTGC. That's something where it's really outpacing Pulse Chain. So that's obviously a clear winner over Pulse Chain. When it comes to liquidity providing, there's so many opportunities. It's very, very hard, man. I think those are very, very solid. Wrap Bitcoin, pDAI, brilliant. pDAI Atropa, I think that's brilliant. pDAI, PUSDC, also brilliant, because it's like, it seems like it's going to stay one-to-one. The only thing that I would say to look out for is things with low liquidity and high volume. That's where the opportunities are at. That's where the real good opportunities are at. And that's where I'm going to show you one towards the end of this episode, a HEX one. So if you got some HEX, man, stay tuned. So that is stashed away. Maybe Jesu, maybe. All right, so let's have a look here. So this ratio. So I want to just start, obviously, always back at this square 1 point. Oh, damn it. It must have been a different eHEX chart. Damn it. Damn. All right, let me just see if I can eHEX. Let me just see if I can get the other one with my drawings on it at least, or if they got deleted somehow. And so eHEX, and maybe it's maybe I had this one. No, that's why. All right. All right, let me just fix that one up. I think this one is the V2 one. It should be the V1 one. Oh, unless, yeah, I showed it in HEX. Here we go. Now the older charts, where was it? This one here. So please, pretty please. So all the V1 charts are older generally, and so I like to use them because it shows the most data. All right, so we're going to continue with this example here. So 200p hex into a million eHEX, and if it comes back up to this price, eventually, parity, which I believe it will happen, then you can swap that back and you've got a million pHEX. So your 200 pHEX can turn into a million pHEX. So this is all Somi's alpha, this ratio swapping. So yeah, if you're learning from this, really good. I hope I've been able to explain it very clearly. And then what I was saying is, oh, nice, we've had a dip. So HotX. So then if you swapped your eHEX into HotX, and let's just say you got it down here, and you did at the very top, you sold, let's just say 50% for argument's sake, just to make it nice and easy. So therefore, if you swapped into HotX and then you swapped back into eHEX and it got to parity, instead of having that much, you would end up having 1.5 million pHEX. I hope that makes sense. And then Crypto Elliot opened my mind up to ORD. So I started to look at, so what I would suggest to you guys is have a look at this liquidity pools Versal.app. And I'm not doing all of these. I've just picked a couple which I think might be like good opportunities, and I'm going to show you those too. So I've just picked GBaby and ORD. So now your HotX to GBaby. So now HotX has been moving stronger to GBaby. Now GBaby is like the hottest narrative. GBaby, well, it's like the newest meme in the Atropa ecosystem. There's a big community around it. Big community spawned up very quickly, and the target is 14,800 for that. Now, at the moment, HotX is getting more volume. This volume could end up turning around where GBaby is going to end up getting more volume. Damn, I need to make my arrows much more pretty, and yeah, blue's good. Blue's good. But why? I want pretty. Anyway, all right, let's just do this because I just want to show this example. Right, so let's just say you then swap your HotX for GBaby. And I'm not saying do this. I'm just saying this is because it could keep dropping. And this is where it becomes a risk. But let's just do this to show you what is possible. So this is the high risk yield potential. For me, just swapping into HotX is probably like the safest, but this could also dip. It could collapse. And then you're going to end up losing your eHEX. Unless you're in a yield... maybe if you put that into like a liquidity providing position and it goes down, it won't be so bad. But let's just say this happens. Let's say GBaby doubles. This is where it gets like real degenerate, right? So let's just say, So yeah, just from here to, which is very possible in my opinion, because GBaby can be very strong. But then HotX could also be very strong. And the way that they're bonded together might mean that the ratios of bonding might mean that that's still something that I need to work out. How the ratios, the amount of tokens out of the total supply of that token, how much the movement is impacted in its bonding pattern with another token. I'm yet to figure this out. So this is something that I need to figure out. This is the next step for me. So, but let's just say you swap your HotX to GBaby, and then GBaby does a double. So it does 100%. So it's just doubled. So therefore, if you had 50 HotX, it would go up to here, and then you'd have 100 HotX. You'd swap it into GBaby and then swap your GBaby back out into HotX. Therefore, not only has this moved up, let's just say this moves up 50% from here as well. Not only does it move 50% up from here, it also moved double. So in other words, instead of 1.5 million, you would end up having 3 million. No. Shit. All right, hang on. I need to do the math on this. I think it's more like, I think it's 2 million, not 3 million, but I need to just do the math on this. So let's just do some numbers here. So now let's just say you're a million eHEX you swapped for 100. Yes, actually. Yes. I think it would be 3 million. So a million eHEX, it's not going to be the right ratio, but let's just say it's 500 HotX. $500 HotX. So then you got your 500 HotX. And then, so your million here for 500 HotX. And then just very simply, if this does a, here we go, 50%. So it does a 50% move. So that means your 500 HotX, you would swap back into. I hope this is making sense. And I think once, if you guys, what I would recommend is for you guys to actually draw these things on your own chart. And it's going to start to make more and more sense. For me, it was just watching and listening to Somi was one thing. But now that I've actually started doing it and drawing it on charts, it's like, oh, now I'm getting it even more. So therefore, my 500, if it does a 50% move, oh, shit, no. Hang on. Yeah, because it's going to give me plus 50%. So therefore, it's going to be 1.5 million because it's going to be another 50%. So now, if we use this scenario here, so now we have the 500 HotX converts into let's just say, I mean, I should really use accurate numbers here, but just because I can't be bothered doing the math like to that exactness. But let's say 500 HotX is going to get you I don't know. I might have this the wrong way around. It's more than likely I have this the wrong way around. But it doesn't really matter for the sake of this. So it gets me 750G, baby. So then it does a double. So then my 750G, baby, will be worth double. So therefore, my 750G, baby, I'm swapping for 1,000 HotX. And you could do this with any charts in the Atropa ecosystem or any charts across Pulse chain. So this, I'm just showing you with HEX, and I probably wouldn't go to this extreme. Honestly speaking, this is getting like really degenerate and really risky. Because I mean, if HotX continues to go, then you're going to be losing. You're losing your. If that doesn't happen, then you're getting less HotX. You swap it for G baby here, and then you're getting less. It's a loss. So honestly, I probably wouldn't do this. But anyway, I'm just showing you the possibilities. So then you would have 1,000 HotX. So therefore, here instead of 500, yeah, it is. It is. I'll be damned. I'll be damned. That's freaking wild. All right. So, there is something to be said about being this degenerate. So therefore, you would have 1,000 HotX, which would end up swapping into 3 million because you're getting double the amount. So you end up swapping for 3 million eHEX. Therefore, yes, here the final eHEX to pHEX swap, if it's parity, and what a, like, I don't know, man, like doing this sort of thing. Let's say you do this and you go, you know what? All I had was 200 pHEX. I'm only going to sell 1 million of it, and then I'm going to stake the extra 2 million and just stake it for 15 years. Like, that is the GOAT move, where you just sell a little bit, or you sell a third and then you stake the other 2/3. That would be amazing. Like, that's, I mean, I like to think in thirds, but yeah, like, you've 5x'd your bag for a start. It's just, yeah, like, okay, so if you go down that road, Ord is another one. So this is what Crypto Elite is always shilling. Ord is another one. It's looking very, very strong. So if you even look at it from the bottom, it's already done. It's already done nearly 100%. Is it going to keep doing that? I don't know. Here looks like, obviously, 19th of January, there was a big swap of HotX into Ord. So probably, yeah, we had this big dump here. So there was probably a big swap. Probably someone who had a lot of HotX started buying Ord with it. But Ord, because of its design, also naturally pumps more. It's like a PTG style token where it naturally pumps more. So therefore, even though it's not on a dip, maybe it ends up doing a 2x. So you could swap it into Ord, and the same scenario that would play out here as to here. It's exactly the same scenario, but obviously you're buying into greens, which is not necessarily a good idea. So this is going down the really degenerate, risky way. For me, I just like the idea of keeping it simple, just swapping into HotX. I like that idea. I think it's a brilliant idea. An even safer idea, eHEX to Pulse Chain. This is amazing LP yield. So Matt and Barley, 50%. 50%. That's really, really good. 58%. That's really exceptional. So 207,000 in liquidity. What happened? Oh, wow. Something happened. Wow. Well, it was showing, but now it's not. I don't know. PulseX does weird stuff like this, so that's interesting. Let's just this is a safer way. I don't think the gains will outpace HotX over a 4-month period. So I'll tell you. So my boy Muddy, he was telling me about this, or the Fibonacci fund. So I'll give you some numbers of percentages here. So basically in 4 months, so okay, I'm going to write these numbers down. So in 4 months of just providing liquidity with eHEX, so I'll keep these nice and easy percentages. So 1 million eHEX and what's this? And then 50, hang on a second. Let me just do something very quickly. Times. Okay. 51,500,000 wrapped pulse chain. And he's up plus 13% on his eHEX. Plus 15% on his eHEX. And plus 30% on his pulse chain. So what does that mean? It means more people are swapping pulse chain into that pool than are swapping eHEX. But in other words, so 1 million, 15%. So yeah, 150,000 eHEX and times, oops. And then this much pulse chain. This is the plus 30%. Hang on a minute. 1 million. I better make sure I got that right. Hang on a second. Did I get my math right on that? 1 million times 15%. Hang on a second. Oh, yeah. And then, hang on. So 51,500. Oops. Times 30%. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty decent. That's really decent. Wow. Holy smokes. Yeah. That's nice. So this is like the perfect kind of this is a perfect kind of liquidity pool where you're getting plus on both sides. Now, yes, this is safer, but the gains, in my opinion, do not outpace HotX. So and that's speculation. That is speculation. It's a safer way, just providing that liquidity. But obviously, as more people provide the liquidity, your yield is going to get diluted. unless it routes more through it. But I don't suspect that it will route more through it. So yeah, just the more people that provide liquidity, the yield gets diluted. So it's good. And that's a 4-month period. And obviously this is nothing to go by, but because this is obviously just when the first volume has started to happen, but you've got 146%. So plus 146% in just over a month. So yeah, this definitely outperforms it, but that other one is safer in a way. So, or it seems to be safer. And when you look at the kind of like, yeah, I mean, maybe that was wrong. I don't know. It did say 58%, but the consistency of that volume, particularly in the last few months, is pretty beastly. I mean, obviously it's that high because of all this volume that happened during this period. It might not always have this volume, and probably this is the Richard Hart FUD, or the quote unquote Richard Hart FUD. Does anyone know the date of when quote unquote apparently Richard Hart FUD'd eHEX? So I would suspect this was that day. So you get these anomalies like that, and how much more eHEX are people going to dump? But then obviously eHEX is valued really nicely at the moment, so people might buy it with their pulse chain, and eHEX is moving the most out of all the core coins. So that's another cheeky little liquidity providing opportunity there. So all right, I'll just close up with these comments and finish up. So I'm glad he feels that way while I bought more core coins. Nice, man. So core coins are for people who are less down the risk curve. Personally, I don't see the argument, as a pulse chain ecosystem is already far down the risk curve. Some people are just dogmatic about it. It's a really interesting phenomena. I think the mindset has come from, as a Hex OG, we're very defensive of Hex. We're very defensive of Hex. Where we had. I mean, I wasn't really involved in. I wasn't really involved in social media, cryptocurrency social media at the time of Ethereum Hex, but I still came up with against a lot of that FUD, and I'd see it in the mainstream. So it was a very frustrating time. So I think being so defensive of the core token, and the fact that the core token as Hex did so well, it's like, okay, well, you want to bet your chips on that. And then the eHEX got diluted into the 4 core coins. And so the mindset is like, well, we got diluted so much already, like let's just hold on to these and just stick with that. And I was also like that. I was very much like that until I started to learn about the Atropa ecosystem, and my mind had to really break down. I was really fixed to the point of like stubbornness that I didn't want to part, or fear that I didn't want to part with any of those core coins. But now it's like, it was the best decision that I ever made to part from those core coins. It was the best financial decision that I've ever made. So yeah, I have no regrets whatsoever. So and like I said, I never heard Richard say just only buy the core coins. I've never heard him express that sentiment. So even though it was hard, it's like, okay, yeah, I mean, I don't know where this idea came from, but it just seems like it was for me personally, it was a detriment. It was a detriment to be fixed on that, because I was hearing about Atropa, the Fib fund. With my boys, we threw like $40 of our collective money into like Atropa Pt I, and Teddy Bear, and maybe something else. And this was because Muddy, who got me into this ecosystem, Muddy also shared with me this Hex pulse chain liquidity providing opportunity. He got me into Atropa, and I was just fixed. But that $40 is like, man, that was months before I started buying into the Atropa ecosystem. So that position was like fat. Just $40 was like fat. It's a fat position. It's a really nice position. So I think it was like over 100,000 pDAI tokens. It's like, man, if I got in then, if I didn't have a fixed mind, like these guys like Coach X, Hodlnomics, these guys who weren't fixated on the core coins, their mind was exploring. And yeah, they're blessed. They're blessed because they had an open mind. They're very, very blessed. I buy what I like, and that's all that matters. All I see is green. Crypto money machine. That's it, bro. We have Pulse core coins, Atropa, PTGC, meme, reward tokens. Yeah, exactly. There's more pros and less cons as far as I'm concerned. So I like the little diagram there. I got some eHEX after your stream yesterday. The 5x to pHEX ratio is genius. Yeah, I mean, you can thank somebody for that. But also, bro, be mindful of that, Puffy, because there's a sector of the core coin maxis, or there's at least a sector of hexicans who don't believe in parity. So they're going to continue to dump their Ethereum hex for pHEX. So just keep that in mind. For me personally, since I saw HotX, since I saw like the concept of liquidity bonding and ratios, I'm like, they have to reach parity. They have to. That's my hope. So yeah, just be mindful of that. But eventually they're going to be it's a game, it's a war of attrition. So eventually the sellers are going to get exhausted and they're going to have no more eHEX to sell. And then it's just going to be great ratios for us. And then we can just swap out pHEX for that eHEX. So yeah, I really do believe in the narrative of parity. Tell us about Poppy. It has liquidity bonded with PRAT's Bitcoin. What would you like me to tell you about it? Sharknado. I mean, I know Poppy was like, Poppy was one of the first, or like maybe one of the first 10. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I'll be honest with you, man. I don't know what to tell you about it, but yeah, I mean, I'll have a quick look at it, see the chart, see what it says. Poppy. I do know that it was one of the first, maybe in the top 20 of the Atropa ecosystem tokens, maybe the top 30. It was early days. So, oh, here we go. Wow. All right. So it's a fat liquidity pool. Poppy and Treasury bill. Wow. Look at that. 740K liquidity. Holy shit. Holy shit. I wouldn't mind having a look at both of them, actually. So V2, Poppy and Treasury bill. God damn. God damn. But look, yeah, I mean, look at that. See, that's good. That's good. Poppy and Wrap Bitcoin. Let's have a look at that. Again, yeah, like low liquidity. See, this is like, oh, that's awesome. It's lots of liquidity. But then you look at the volume. So therefore, the yield is not as good as this one here, where the liquidity is lower, but the volume is higher. So the percentage yield is going to be better. So I'm going to enter this this pair here. I'll show you the comparison of that as well, actually, because it'll just help. It'll help, hopefully help you wrap your mind around it. Oh, you silly computer. Stop being so hot all the time. So slow, so slow. I mean, it's fine when I do my data stay stuff. Come on, come on. Oh, here we go. At least I can get this. So while this is loading, let's get this info here. So if you didn't see what I did there, I just copied the pair address. And then I'm in PulseX info. It's a V2 pool. So I clicked V2 here. And now Wrap Bitcoin and Poppy. Damn it. Damn it. See, it's not really showing it. Damn it. So PulseX is being totally lame. I don't know if this is from my computer side. How do you do like a refresh? I think it's like a PulseX thing rather than a computer thing, but you never know. Yeah. No. All right, that sucks. All right, well, yeah, I guess let's have a look. Got PTG stake, but no luck. I hate the locking up thing. I did it with Hex and could have shot myself, but each to their own. Yeah, the staking things. Salute to freedom. So no longer we're in the salute, we're in salute now. What's going on, Ram? All right, let's have a look at this ratio. So GBaby is leverage on HotX, which is leverage on eHEX, which is leverage on pHEX, etc. Exactly, Farmer Giles. But GBaby, okay, so far HotX is proving to be that on eHEX. GBaby hasn't proved it, but GBaby is a potential. So it's not like, I mean, if you got balls and you're like, screw it, I'm just going to swap. I've swapped all my pHEX into eHEX, and I'm swapping all my eHEX into HotX, and I'm going to swap all my HotX into GBaby. You might end up be absolutely laughing if you have the balls and it plays out. But like I said, GBaby, the price of GBaby to HotX might keep going down. So HotX might end up maintaining the position of power in price. So the price chart's going to continue to go down. So they're like, in this instance, there could be a reversal here, but that's a risk, bro. Like, it could also keep going like this. And if it keeps going like this, then you end up losing. Ord, on the other hand, is looking continuously bullish. But again, this is not a guarantee. Maybe HotX ends up start being the powerful play, and then it goes down. So if you make that swap into Ord and it comes down here, and you might cheat and go, oh shit, I'm losing HotX, the value of my HotX, and you swap out and you're going to have less HotX. Same as this. If GBaby, cry at this bloody, so bad. Wow, so bad. Okay, let me close up some of these things. Maybe this will free up some. I think it's literally just now a heat thing. So all the links for the XUSD is in the description. And as I mentioned, and I think it even should say it in my description. And if it doesn't, I certainly need to maybe now consider putting it in there. I'm part of the team and I do get token allocation. So just keep that in mind. All right. So, oh, damn it. Just close down some of these other charts. All right. What happened here? Now the poppy went whack. Yeah. Okay. Who asked me about poppy? Was it Sharknado? Maybe did you ask about what you wanted to know? Yeah, Sharknado. What would you like to know about this? Because at the moment I'm just getting wrecked. So I don't know what I can even show you because my computer's getting absolutely wrecked. All right. So as that fixes up, so I got no hex and hold little pulse. I hold 9. Man, you might end up being the biggest winner. So I always pay my respect to Hexagon's day one supporters. Thanks, man. What's the website with Maria's chat with questions and answers again? It should be in the description, my description. So I keep all that kind of stuff in my description. So Atropa Toolkit. So under Atropa Toolkit in the description is the one that says rentry.co/Atropa Eco FAQ. Atropa.co. Damn, that was made for me, baby. The pulse I hold is only gas. I got my Pulse X sack still. Nice. My pleasure firefighting with Brad. What's going on, man? I'm also a Hex OG after Big Payday. Or before Big Payday, and I didn't even know how to stake at the time. I think people's minds will open up more when the green candles come and people feel more comfortable. I think so too. For me, I don't see an end for Hex. I don't see it. Like if Hex fails, then Pulse Chain's going to fail. Like if we think Pulse Chain's going to succeed, then Hex, in my opinion, also has to succeed. Just I don't see a reality where one succeeds and the other doesn't. The liquidity bonding means that they're both going to succeed. So if we believe pDAI is going to peg, if we believe Atropa is going to continue to do awesome, if we believe Pulse Chain is going to continue to grow, then we also should believe, just by virtue of liquidity bonding, that Hex is also going to do amazing. Just like I showed earlier, pHEX is bonded 1-to-1 with pDAI. So, I mean, that in itself. Boy, this is a hard chart to read, to be perfectly honest with you. When I look for ratios, this is hard. This is obviously, yeah, like... It looks like, well, there's a lot of volume here. where a lot of that value from maybe wrapped Bitcoin was flowing back into Poppy during this little period here. You can see all this volume. So that's something. I mean, yeah, Maria's pulling strings. Like people, yeah. So for me, yeah, like not a great ratio. I don't know what to tell you about Poppy and wrapped Bitcoin. Sorry. So, look who's here, the big dog. And actually, you know what? I need to I got to do this for my boy. I got to publicly apologize to Muddy for my ruthless spear campaign on him, constantly saying he was dogging the boys. He did some exploring on the blockchain and found Cody, another member of the Fib Fund, sneakily dogged the boys. And I was accusing Muddy. So I was actually accusing Muddy of dogging the boys because he was always with Bay. And it's like, where's Muddy Waters? He's dogging the boys for Bay. So it's a public apology. There you go, Muddy. There's my public apology. Grandpa Pulse, XUSD is not a coin from CoachX. So CoachX has X. So X Army is different. I did a stream on that the other day. XUSD is the token I was showing earlier in the stream. So that is Anders from Love.io is part of the team. Surfacing is part of the team. There's Nikki, and then there's Kathy as well. So yeah, you probably might only really know maybe Anders and Surfacing. So people are very scared right now. Yeah, for sure. Thanks, man. Appreciate the W stream. So Goldie, what do I do with all my coins? Just all sitting liquid, no staking, no LP. So yeah, Goldie, I guess that's up to you, man. So yeah, this is your call. This is your call, bro. I mean, I like to deploy the capital and stake it or just hold it in things that I think are going to go up. So shout out to 420, Muddy. We got 420 viewers right now. 421 now. Damn, 422. But thank you for all the 422 viewers. So yeah, I would look at either looking at ratios. But honestly, if you're just holding, there's nothing wrong with that strategy as well. Like one thing that you really have to keep into account, maybe if you're in America, you won't have to, which I really envy you guys, but like tax, you get wrecked from swapping. And if you round trip, you get absolutely wrecked. So if I can offer you the biggest piece of crypto advice, don't forget your tax. If you're in a country that taxes, like in Australia, which is what I am in, I had my head in the sand with tax in the last bull run. So I was just like, oh, I'm going to worry about the tax later. And when you got a position and you're trading and your portfolio goes into the 7 figures and you're swapping and trading all the way up, but then you don't sell enough at the top and you round trip and it comes back down to 3 figures, it's a very stressful time because your tax can basically destroy your entire portfolio. If you've got $120,000 of tax, and this is what happened to one of my friends, $120,000 tax, and your portfolio comes down to like 200,000, like you can basically destroy your whole portfolio. So really pay attention to the tax. So sometimes just holding the coins is okay because you don't have to pay the capital gains. And this is why I love the P Stables narrative. This is why I've got all my fingers and my toes crossed that the P Stables play off, because if the P Stables play off, then you never have to sell that principal. And then it's just like a non-tax event. What's this? Claim business deficit. Claim business deficit. So I still got my side bay. I'm still your side bay. That's nice. All right, I'll take that. I'll accept that. Only 20% away from my XUSD entry now. Come on, Alex. You had a good opportunity yesterday. It's done a plus 60%. Dollar cost average down, my boy. Yeah, what's claim business deficit? I'm going to have to look into that. So I thought you only pay tax on what you take out into fiat. Nah, bro. I mean, well, I guess it depends on your country, but in Australia, it's literally just swapping token for token. So for example, like, you know, I would swap Cardano into whatever. I don't know, Ethereum. You get wrecked. Or you'd swap it into a stablecoin. Any trade that you do is a taxable event, and you have to take the value in Australian dollars of that token. It was part of my French, but it's very worth it. I need to work on my French, but it was a fucking nightmare. It was a fucking nightmare when you have to like use these crypto cax calculators and then you have to backtrack everything. And then you had all the hex stakes that were coming out and you have to calculate what the value of hex was at the time of the stake ending. It was an absolute effing nightmare. It was probably it was up there in like the top 5 worst experiences of my life. Put it that way. It was so remarkably, insanely stressful. And I'd just become like a full-time volunteer, and the amount of tax that I had to pay, it was the most stressful, one of the most stressful experiences of my life. And I just didn't realize that. So in Australia, any swap that you do is a taxable event. So bear that in mind. That's why when you don't do a swap, it's really good. When you hold for more than 12 months, it's really good. So just start an LLC, and your YouTube channel comes with an EIN number, especially if you're monetized. And when you swap, you're being taxed. Just start an LLC. All right, nice. Well, to be honest, I think that's what I'm going to be doing. That's something that's on my list of things to do. I need to convert all my crypto assets, but because now I'm basically going to be donating my entire portfolio to, I'm going to be donating it to a non-profit organization. So basically, I'm going to be setting up a non-profit organization which is going to design and build meditation centers. So that's going to be a non-profit organization. So it's going to be a different sort of tax structure as well. So I need to work on that ASAP actually. So I'm in the UK. I would definitely look into it, Puffy. I would say it's probably the same in the UK. I wouldn't be surprised. So if you're staked, the coins are burned, bro. This is... You know what? This is the thing that I didn't realize. Hexagon lost in Asia, and I'm so glad that you mentioned that. And I need to write that down, because yes, when they're burned, then it's like it's like a different thing in tax, because it's not like you're staking it and then it comes out at a higher price. You're literally burning it. You're throwing it away. And then you're just getting new tokens, and then you restake those tokens. In other words, so you throw those tokens away. So basically, you received tokens at a rate. You didn't take profit. You threw them away. So I tell you what, I might even have to go back on my old tax and do some sort of forward claim on that, or something like this. Because yeah, that's a big point to consider. That's a really, really big point to consider. So anything you pay for when you have a business is a deficit. So, oh, damn. Thank you, Matt. Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. 55 Australian dollars. Thank you. I do love when I get the super chats. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate that. So anything you pay for, I say thanks for your efforts all the time, Steve. I appreciate it. My absolute pleasure, Matt. I absolutely love it. So tax effed you up as well. It was disgusting. Alex, yeah, let's make sure. I'll tell you what I've done, or what I'm planning to do, is basically the majority of my portfolio is going to get donated, and then I'm going to keep that when I transfer the ownership, that's a taxable event. So whatever the value of my portfolio is, that'll be a taxable event at that time. And so if instead of donating like the full 100%, I'll end up donating like, let's say 90%. And then hopefully I need to do that ASAP. And then that 10% that remains by the end of the bull market, that will be enough to actually pay the tax of that particular taxable event. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. But then I'm also kind of really hoping that this whole, I mean, if I really need to look in this, that's some serious alpha there burned. Because if the idea of burning tokens minimizes tax somehow, or like negates tax, that's epic. So you are a LLC already. W move to donate it to an organization that will invest it back into your pockets. That's a great partnership. Yeah, so it's not going to invest it back into my pockets. So yeah, it's literally, I'm doing what I'm going to say that I'm going to be doing. You know, it's not a non-profit organization where it's like, yeah, we're a non-profit organization, wink, wink, and I've just got like a Tesla car and I bought myself a mansion. It's not like that. Like literally, I have enough right now. I live exactly how I want to. I don't need anything more than I already have. So yeah, it's literally 100% all going to go towards making Australia a better country. It's going to be contributing to a consciousness revolution. So man, I can't wait. Like it's all going to come to fruition. Like I have so much conviction in the truth. It's like, I can't wait to like when those first few meditation centers start getting designed and built and documenting that process on this channel and showing like my talents as an architect and sharing those talents with the world and having people actually experience what it's like to be in a beautiful place, that the place itself gives you a sense of well-being. So it's conducive of the meditation method, and then actually people's minds transforming. I'm guiding meditation today, and there's people that are like, I've done so many different meditations since I've been in my 20s, and this person's in their 40s now, and she said that none of them really work. Listening to music and breathing, that feels good at the time, but nothing in my mind is changing. The root of my mind is staying the same. This method is about changing the root of the mind. It's about removing the root, the negativity. So even like there's so much alpha that I'm going to be sharing over the years, and like even manifesting all these kinds of things. And I'm listening to Neville Goddard, and I was listening to him just today actually. And one of the things he was saying was, you got to really feel it. You feel into the future and feel like it's already done. That quote in Matthew, what is it? The Bible passage, the Matthew one, where it's like the mustard seed. And if you say to this mountain, move there, then it will be so. And it will, anything that you say will be done, or something along those lines. I should bring it up because I'm just butchering it. It's one of my favorites. But anyway, that particular passage, yeah. And then Neville Goddard basically talks about those principles. Manifesting is those principles. But he's like, okay, well, if you have self-doubts that comes into your mind, then just kind of let it go and gently settle back into feeling that feeling. I couldn't do that. There wasn't any space in my mind. My mind was full of shit. It was full of negativity. There was no settling back into a state of feeling good. There was never a feeling of goodness to settle into. It doesn't matter how much I tried to generate it. It was just an avalanche of negativity. So that's why, again, this method's it's the GOAT. It's the GOAT method. You clear your mind. You get rid of the crap. It's the GOAT method, and you live eternally. It's literally the GOAT method. 20, 30, 40, 50 years time, this channel, I believe this channel is going to be like, hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions, because the information that I'm sharing it's literally the truth. It's literally the truth. So yeah, it's just going to be a matter of time where people's consciousnesses begin to open up. So Richard Hart versus scummy SEC lawyers. F the tax. Go to this is a great idea. What's my thoughts on the pWBTC chart? I went over that earlier in the stream, Matt. So I had a look at the pWBTC. I mean, yeah, at the moment it just looks like a regular pullback. I have no thoughts aside from that. I'm still bullish on it. I'm bullish on parity, man. So I'm bullish on all of it. So anything between now and parity is just like noise. So yeah, I'm bullish on all of it. So Goldie, that is a great idea to go and do that. And I know a lot of people do that. It's a great suggestion. For me, it's not an option for me because my duty here is in Australia. That's the only issue. So, you want to know the top? Yeah, sorry, man. Look, I guess the top is Bitcoin. If you want to know the local top, I mean, for me, the local top, it depends how local we're talking. So when I think of local tops, I'm looking at Atropa and pDAI. So for me, this was a local top. Boy. Oh, boy. Oh. All right, I'm going to have to end this stream soon. But yeah, Matt, I don't know if you can see these charts, but at least you can see my mouse. So this is a local top. This here is a local top. And this up here was a local top. So in other words, I don't think that there's any kind of local top anytime soon because we haven't, I mean, we've hit a local bottom, but yeah, if you're looking at it for a local top to consider selling, I can't pick these little mini local tops. I don't pick those local tops. I'm not good at that. I like only the major local tops, like the intermonth local tops. I don't like looking at this intraday stuff. It's not my thing. I don't have a skill for that. I'm sorry to say, Matt. So yeah, local top for wrap Bitcoin would be, I would say, a good few months away. Like until we actually break the all-time highs, then I wouldn't be looking at a local top. So I hope that helps. I like the decentralized me theory on loans with pDAI in the future. No tax on loans. Yeah, that's a fantastic theory as well. So 8K for pWBTC in 2 weeks. Nice. Actually, you know what? I mean, if this stops being lame, I will show you how I look for the local tops. And all right, let's do this. Yeah, I'll show you this. Let's do this. All right. And I can't take credit for this alpha because I learned this from the Moon King. And I've learned this from Access Alive as well. So yeah, I just learn from the best. That's all I do. I learn from the best. And it's not 100%. But let's actually have a look at what it looks like on Wrapped Bitcoin. Oh, the charts are so weird on Wrapped Bitcoin though. That's the problem. Okay, let me just get some dates. 1 second. Because everything's kind of moving in sync. So around about September 23 and March. Let me write this down. September 23, March 24. And then obviously what, December 24. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show how I picked. I wasn't doing this method with the first top of pDAI that I picked, but I was doing this for the second one. I was using the Fibonacci. So first, let's just kind of draw those just approximate dates on here. So what did we say? We said September 23. Where's September 23? What? God damn it. Because shit, I need to get gosh, damn it. Do I have another? All right, I need to get a longer wrapped Bitcoin chart. Hold on a second. All right, 15 minutes max because it's like day and night when I don't sleep properly. It's day and night. I can do it for like weeks. But I don't want to fall into those patterns because then after weeks of not sleeping properly, well, actually I can do it for months. And then after months of not sleeping properly, like my mind just starts to get spacco and I just don't function properly as a human. So I just don't want to start those habits. So 15 more minutes and then I'm going to finish up this stream. So what I'm looking for is a long chart of wrapped Bitcoin. 1 year. Okay, so this will be a good one to look at. Yeah, bro. Should move to Texas for the tax. And XUSD Albert. Albert. Loving it. Absolutely loving it. Liquidity's low, opportunity's the highest. And again, if you look at the X's to the dollar, like you're basically getting an extra 3x on XUSD or thereabouts. So in other words, it's like a 66x to... Actually, it's more than a 3x. Actually, I'll tell you what. I should... Oh, nice. It's still going to be here. I'll do that last. So I'm going to write that down because this is what happens. I end up forgetting because I waffle and answer questions and forget. So I'm going to remind me to have a look at the XUSD multiplications to the dollar because XUSD, this is why I love it so much. It's representing the highest upside potential to the dollar. All right. So wrap Bitcoin. All right. So wrap Bitcoin... Let's go to the 3-day. So what did we say? September. So this is the chart Dickie was using. All right, so we said September, so it was around here. Nice. So we had a local top. And okay, cool. So it's in confluence. So I said September and then about March, April. So yeah, pretty much the same. Okay, so now all I do is get the Fibonacci. And so we'll see how it looks here. So from the top to the bottom. And let's just, the style, I think you can extend it right. Here we go. And can I get rid of all the colors, all the fills? All right. So I think I was just looking at Fibonacci's. When it gets to like, well, let's have a look. So in this instance, one top was the 1.68 and another one was the 2.168. Now, let's do the same here. So the top to the local top to the local bottom, I think. Oh, yeah, wow. I mean, it just kind of blew it out of the water. So that's not very helpful. So there you go. This is why indicators are just that. They're just indicators. They're not exactitudes. Whereas in the case of pDAI, it was perfect. It was just perfect. I was anticipating around the 3.3 cent mark, and we got to, I think I was predicting it on this, the 3.68. And I don't know why I picked the 3.68. Why would I have picked the 3.68? I can't remember why I did that. This is why. This is why. So when I looked at this, it was between, so from this top to this bottom, it was hovering between the 2.618 and the 3.61. So I was like, okay, well, maybe the next top is going to be there. So then it was within that region, but that's in this instance. So that could have just been a fluke. But then I was also looking at the volume. I was looking at a lot of other things. There was a lot of other things. The euphoria, just Ivan on Tech bought it. I was like, nah, man, this is getting way too toppy. Like I was feeling like, I was just on top of the world. So I'm looking at this, and again, I would honestly say it's going to hit the local top around here. So I would measure it. So then if you're looking for a local top with wrapped Bitcoin, I would be looking at pDAI, because this is saying that it's going to hit between 8 cents, basically 8.5 cents to 12 cents, 12.5 cents. That's the next local top. That's what this is saying. And for my mind as well, that sounds very, very plausible. Why? The 1 cent was easy because it's 1 cent. It's a massive psychological number. That's easy. The next massive psychological number is the 10 cent mark. So for me, whether it breaks through 10 cents or whether it stops just short of 10 cents, I'll definitely be looking there to see signs of movement across all the liquidity flows with the Atropa ecosystem around Pulse Chain, just see what's happening. So then if it looks like pDAI is topped at 10 cents, then I would say whatever time that is, then wrap Bitcoin is also top, because they pretty much all top at the same time. So obviously, yeah, the fibs didn't work on this one, but it did work for pDAI. But just because it worked in the past doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work again. But the fact that it's hitting around the 10 cent mark, I'm like, that's pretty bang on. That's pretty much exactly where I want to see it. Because you know what? I wonder what happens if we. Then I wonder what's. Oh, let's do that. So let's do 111 for the culture, and then what's going to, if it continues doing that, and look at that. I mean, the next one about 30 odd cents. The next local top. I mean, we could just be going on fibs. It could just be going all the way on fibs. All right, so I'll just finish up now. So with the XUSD, so remember, to a dollar, pDAI is 1.5 cents-ish at the moment. So it's like 66x. Whereas XUSD to the dollar, this is why it's one of my favorite. Treasury bill is also exceptional. I think Treasury bill is like I can't remember. Treasury bill is also really, really good value. And there's been some big Treasury bill buys. The Treasury bill, Telegram, some fat buys. I'm talking like, I saw one for like 45,000 the other day. I was like, holy shit. Does anyone want to come and do that with XUSD? I would definitely appreciate that. I think anybody in this stream would also appreciate that. So I think, yeah. So basically it's like a 250x. So in other words, it's almost 4 times as much. So if you bought, yeah, whatever you can buy, however many, you're basically going to get 4 times the amount of tokens with this because of the value to the dollar. So yeah, it has the most upside potential versus all the kind of p-stable narratives, to the best of my knowledge. So, all right, so be as the wealthy, tax loopholes, don't you worry, I'm definitely going to be trying all that stuff. I hope so. I hope so, Matt. I'm not too sure, though. If Richard Hart is tweeting so much now, more in depth about the coins, I don't see why he can't stream now. Same thing. I'm not too sure, Goldie. I'm not too sure. And on his thing, it says that it's not him tweeting. It could be AI. We don't actually know. So, all right. So here's the story behind Poppy. Oh boy, Sharknado. You need to be, if you're typing out a story, I'm happy to hear it, but 9 minutes, bro. I don't know if you're like typing. I'd love to hear the story of Poppy. Whatever you do, don't sell at 10 cents. Should be in Feb 14th. What do you mean, Goldie? Whatever you do, don't sell at 10 cents. Okay, I understand that part. Should be in Feb 14th. Are you saying by February 14th it'll be 10 cents? I'm not saying I would sell, but I'm just saying I think that could be a local top. But because now we're kind of entering into the sort of parabolic stage of the bull market, like selling is just getting harder and harder to grow your bags in that way. I feel like those opportunities have really slipped. So damn. So Matt and Bali, you're the whale, bro. Maria says it will happen quick. Wake up one day and it's pegged. Ah, you mean like that? Okay. Yeah, Maria. I mean, I think Maria's cooked. I don't think so. I don't sit in the camp that thinks it does. So there's this division in the community. It's split. So guys, next move, it's Atropa at 1 stage 3. So this is the Don. Do not fade the Don. So Don, I don't know if you're talking about this. So in terms of, okay, so when I look at when I talk in stages of the Atropa ecosystem, this was up to stage 1. This was stage 2. Oh my God. And then this was stage 3. So now we're, guys, next move, it's Atropa at 1 stage 3. So do you mean like, unless for you, this was like stage 1, this is stage 2, and now this is stage 3? Is this what you mean by the stages, Don? Next move, it's Atropa at $1. Oh. Yeah, bro. I mean, what is it at the moment? Yeah, that's plausible. It's only a 10x. It's 10 cents at the moment, so definitely. The Don doesn't really tweet out. You don't really tweet much, do you, Don? To be honest, the alpha is just in these little bits of conversation in here that I get from you. So, and then in the DMs. But I know the Don was early in Atropa, so that to me is like worthy of respect. So, okay, all right, I'm going to leave it at that. It's nearly 11:30. I'm sorry to Sharknado. You've said here's the story behind Poppy. Sorry, bro. I don't know if you posted a link or if you're still typing. If you want to share it with me in DMs, I'll follow you on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter, and I'll follow you back, and you can share the story with me at CoexistSteven. And I'm happy to hear the story, but I don't want to wait around. Sorry, I don't know how long it's going to take you to type. So, anyways, thanks very much everybody for joining. I hope this was a valuable stream. Hopefully you got some good alpha. 2 hours. Wow. All right, there we go. But it's 11:30, so that's good. So thanks everybody. Have a good night. And I'll leave with